welcome back to How Low Can You Go, the golf improvement podcast, where we grab the game of golf by the scruff of the neck and we talk some sense into it. Isn't that right, Chris?
Yes, that is right, Dave. And I'm back, and it feels so good to be back sitting here with you talking about golf.
Yes. And I can just tell you, Chris, it was a very special moment there for me to say, isn't that right, Chris? Once again, to have my co-host partner back from honeymoon. Chris is a romantic soul. He did it the old-fashioned way. He eloped in secret and got married to the beautiful Chloe just back from South Africa safari. But as wonderful as that sounds, Chris, people don't want to hear about your wedding and your honeymoon. We want to hear about your golf. So you've been absolutely blitzing it since you got back. Before you went away, I don't mean to like reopen old wounds, but before you went away, a few episodes ago, things were not going according to plan for you on this journey. You're trying to get to scratch. Like, where had your handicap gone up to? You'd had this awful snap hook thing off the tee that was killing you a bit. And like, where was your handicap? It had crept up. It started off at 2 at the start of this journey. Where had it crept to?
Yeah. So it crept to 3. So I'd
full shot.
Honestly, it was, I just want to say, Dave, like, although I got married, I'm always married to the game of golf as well. Don't you ever forget that. Don't you ever forget that. But yeah, no. So basically, I won't lie, the last 2 to 3 months, and I've been speaking to people about this, not a therapist or anything like that, but I've been speaking to people about this, and I think this is, in progression-wise in the game, my own golf game, I've never went up. I've always, so when I was off for that 6 years and I came back, I was mid-handicapper and I just kept going down. And each year, the handicap kept going down.
By like how many shots are we talking here? Like?
So let's say the first year it wasn't long before I was back down single figures, but like when I started at Prestonfield, I was playing mid-handicap golf, but they gave me a handicap of 9. They started me off as a single figure because I put the 3 cards in.
Yeah.
And they started me off at 9. But then I just went like down each year. And each year, so I was living in this fairy tale land of my handicap coming down all the time.
That's just what you expect, to go down by that number of shots every single year.
Yeah, but this year it's been different. And I definitely think that's the trials and tribulations of being this low handicapper trying to get to scratch.
Yeah.
Because I went up to 3 because let's say -1 came off. So that just pinged me right back up.
Yeah. And we're going to come to that later on in this episode. Those dicey moments when you've got a really good round that you don't want to lose. You don't want it to come off. And then, it's just hovering above that line on the world handicap system. Yeah.
Exactly. But to get back to what you were saying, I have, since I came back from honeymoon, I've really put the work in. I've had a lesson. I've been going to the range more. I've been playing good games of golf at good courses. I have been so locked in. And I might have said this a few times. I am back, Dave.
I'm back.
Don't you forget, I am back. I'm here. I'm putting down the gauntlet. I am back. I'm here to stay. And that handicap is going to start coming down.
Yeah, because before you left, like, things were going so badly.
They were bad.
You were talking about, like, this podcast had jinxed you.
Since starting the podcast, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm overanalyzing myself, but I am getting worse, man. And it's a killer because I'm doing it in 4K, so everybody's getting to see me absolutely melt down. It's brutal, mate.
You a lot worse. And then I started to think that. I was like, are we going to like kind of swap here? Because I'm starting to play some pretty decent golf. And Chris, I don't know, because I'd never seen you like snap hook so many shots into like bushes and trees. That just wasn't something that I
Yeah.
associated with a player like you, you know?
I think like the thing that I found with my golf was I was seeing a round of golf like a threat instead of an
Right.
opportunity, if that makes sense.
Oh, definitely. I think,
And
yeah, you know, that's how a lot of people feel if they are really honest with
Yeah.
themselves.
and every time I stepped up to the ball on the first tee, I was almost living, and I've told myself I need to stop doing this, but I was living a few holes ahead even before I tipped my shot. See, I was just like, right, okay, if I get a birdie here, if I get a par here, or if I make a bogey there, because that's what you've been doing. And then I'm not even enjoying the game of golf anymore. And that's where it was becoming a mental challenge.
Yes.
But that's when I kind of like grabbed myself by the scruff of the neck and said, like, listen, like showing up to a golf game thinking it's all going to be sorted, it's not going to happen. So I like pulled out the big guns. I've got Jonnie, the PGA coach that was in our last 2 episodes.
Yeah, and we'll
I
get some
went to the
reaction from you shortly about some of the wisdom that Jonnie shared with me. I
Exactly.
was really lucky to sit down with him for quite some time that we've got on the last couple of podcasts.
And we've got some
and
gems there as well, yeah.
completely loads of stuff for me to work on for sure. But like, yeah, at your level, you know, you've talked about that, you know, how once you've come down significantly, it's really unrealistic almost to expect to keep going down handicap-wise at that rate. But yeah, tell me about, like, first of all, tell me about the lesson that you had with Jonnie, because I think you need to share. There was something pretty exciting happened on that lesson, like something pretty unbelievable.
So a 16 million to 1 chance happened. So basically, I got an albatross. On the lesson, I got an albatross. I know I've been searching. I know I've been searching for a hole-in-one, but I've literally done one step up from that, which has gone a 2 for anybody that's not really a 2 on a par 5. Okay, so
like there'd be plenty. I would imagine there'd be plenty of top
Jonnie's
PGA Tour pros. Like there'd be tour pros who have never had that. There'd be I would say the majority of them have never had that.
Yeah. When I was speaking to people in the pro shop, like the actual pro shop guys, they were like, I've never had an albatross. Jonnie was like, I've never had an albatross either.
Yeah.
So I looked at the stats for that, and it was so a hole-in-one is seemingly 12,000 to 1.
Yeah.
And an albatross is 16 million to 1 chance of happening. Right?
Like,
and I'm not...
These,
and it wasn't
these are the sorts of miracles that happen on the How Low Can You Go podcast, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is as well, we audio recorded the whole thing. So what we'll do is we'll definitely get that audio put in this podcast so you can live with me on that albatross.
Well, you've absolutely smoked it. I think you're over the green because, I mean, it came out so well. I think you'll be just over the green.
Or I'm in the hole.
That would be nice if you were in the hole. You know, one of the girls that I coached, first lesson I did with her, she got a hole-in-one in the 13th.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Oh!
You're joking. You're joking.
That is in the hole.
Oh my gosh, mate. What an albatross. That's unbelievable.
That's been behind a tree as well.
Oh
my God.
It's only a 300-yard 3-wood you've hit. That's unbelievable.
Because it was honestly, do you know when it's one of those where, say if you get a hole-in-one, do you remember you said you got a hole-in-one?
Yes, I say, yeah.
Do you know if you were to get a hole-in-one, you hope that the shot is pure? Obviously a hole-in-one's a hole-in-one. But if someone asks you, how did you hit it? And you thinned it, do you know what I mean? If you duffed it and it rolled in, that's not as I hit the purest 3-wood. 3-wood. 300 yards.
No.
And with a fade. And I was behind a tree as well. So my first shot on the 14th at Murrayfield, the dog leg left.
Yeah.
I kind of sprayed my 3-wood a little bit right. and I was behind a tree, and then Johnny saying like, right, practice your rehearsal. You know what you need to do. And then honestly, practice rehearsal, looked down, smacked it. And do you know when you just hear that boing, and you just know it's like a good shot, but you don't know. Then you look up and it was just curving perfectly down towards the green. But I didn't actually get to see it because it dips down.
You're so far away from it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, when the moment came when you'll hear in the audio clip, like Johnny telling me about, there was a girl that he'd done a lesson with, and then on the first shot, she got a hole in one with him. And just as he was saying that,
like, no way.
He had said that we were kind of like, oh, it might be through the back and stuff like that. And then I looked in the hole, and what you hear is like, oh, and then I couldn't control like my vocal cords.
It's going to be an even bigger queue of people wanting lessons with Johnny after this. I think,
honestly,
is he going to take the credit for this?
Well, that's the thing. We were just kind of like, we were both, because I think the great thing about golf is when, say, something like that happens, you're just like, everybody that's there, Johnny and I, are just so like, what's going, this is like why we love the game of golf, because things like this just give you that kind of, I had like the shivers, the goosebumps, and I was just, this is a fantastic feeling.
Yeah. So absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, so you had an albatross, no big deal. Tell me more about what Johnny is working with you on to try. Like, you've given him the brief. Johnny, he's well aware of the challenge that you and I are on. He works with a lot of good players. So someone at your level, you went to him. We'll talk about where your handicap is in a moment, right here, right now. But you were creeping up in around the 3 mark.
Yes. And I went to Johnny.
What were you saying to him? Like, and what were his insights in terms of somebody at your level trying to get like those last sort of 3 strokes down to get to that holy grail of scratch?
So basically, what he was telling me was, I've got rid of that 3-wood that I got the albatross with.
What?
I know. I parked it.
No.
Nothing. Listen. Nothing will ever compare to that shot ever again.
Okay.
So I retired the 3-wood. I've given it to golf clubs for cash if they want to sponsor us. And
they maybe should have given me more money for it. If you told them the backstory, if you told them what that club had achieved.
Someone else is going to take that and achieve great things with it. And I've got a 2 driving iron now.
Okay.
So this is the build up to later. Johnny and I had this conversation. So I can hit the 2 iron around about 260, 265. So around Murrayfield, I don't need it. I personally don't want to hit driver anymore, because with all the trees, I feel it'll get me in trouble. But
260,
Johnny was
like, hold on, 260 carry.
So it's about no. It's about 240 carry with a 20-yard run.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I'll clarify so nobody thinks that I think I'm Bryson. And so basically, he was playing along with me, and there were certain holes where I was hitting this iron, and I was striking it well. He's hitting driver, and he's 20, 30 yards in front of me. And he just looked at me at one time, and it's kind of like what I do with you, and I'm like, do you want me to tell you what the weather's like up here when you're so far behind?
Yeah, I love it when you do that.
He had basically said, do you see what's happening? Why you should be hitting the driver more off the tee? He was like, what iron do you have in your hand? And let's say I had 7 iron or 8 iron. He's like, I've got a pitching wedge. And he was like, that's where you need to get closer to the green. Because he's like, you'll be able to get the ball to the hole closer with a higher like wedge or a 9 iron, while I'm hitting a 7 iron trying to control something in.
And on that, strongly recommend that people go back and listen to those recent episodes with Johnny. He makes that point, I think, a couple of times. Golf is a game of proximity. He was saying, just sounds simple, but like, the further down there you can get it, the easier it's going to be. Like, that makes complete sense. Like, come on.
And it's true. Like, so he was saying about that when we were talking about my driver, I was saying I was having the duck hooks. So Johnny said, right now, what I want you to do is basically aim a little bit more left side of the fairway or left side down the rough. And he was like,
but
from
just
right to...
whoa, hold on a second. Like, you're duck hooking it, and then someone says, here, aim a bit more left. You know, that's a scary moment for me if somebody's telling me that.
But he had said, like, and play a slice, try and just play a slice. Whereas, like, I don't know if this is where you can compare, like, the lower handicaps and mid handicap, but do you think if someone said to you, play a slice, you could just be like, yep, play a slice? Do you think you could do it?
I think, and this is probably having worked with Johnny a bit, is I think I could give it a go and can do it much more so than I used to. So, yeah. And that's what Johnny's so into. Like, to get a really decent shot shape that suits you, you should try and sort of work within those parameters. Try and, like, know what it feels like to hit a fade or a slice. And know how it feels to also hit on the opposite side, to hit a draw or a hook. So, yeah, to answer your question, I would say I'm not absolutely brilliant at it, but I am getting more awareness of how to hit, like
open
fades
the body.
and
open the body up,
like
come
that.
more right to left. So that's where he had said to me, he was like, well, he's like, this isn't the ultimate fix, but he said, for you just now, he was like, aim down left, come in from right to left, open the body up, play that slice. And then he was like, we'll get you in the TrackMan, because obviously we were on the course. And he was like, well, the dispersion with your slice, then it becomes a fade. Then it becomes like, do you know what I mean? You're just playing that nice kind of like butter fade up the fairway. So he had said to...
Which is what you had. Which was what you had before.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's... I'm still working on the driver. The 2-iron is very, very much out practically all the time. And if the fairway is very, very wide and I feel comfortable, then I will like play that shot. A lot of the things he was saying which was really interesting, the club selection for me.
Yeah.
It was like he said I wasn't trusting how far I can hit the ball, and I was always kind of not playing the ball at the distance that it's supposed to be with my club. So he said a lot of times my shot selection needs to get better, which he had said there's a brilliant game you can do on the TrackMan where it basically pops up a yardage and you've got to just hit a club to what you think that yardage is, and then it gives you a score at the end.
We need to play that. Like,
we need to play that.
That sounds really good.
Because he said if you keep doing that, you're like, you basically become so dialed in with, like, you see a 137 number, you know, okay, that's a 3/4, do you know what I mean, 8-iron, or like that kind of mindset.
Now you mention it, I've seen Johnny on the TrackMan. I think he was getting prepared for a Pro-Am that he had the following week. And I saw him in on the TrackMan. There were like numbers coming up on screen. And then with like his wedge, he was trying to hit them. Like it came up saying like 72 yards, and he just gets up and it's like 71 or something like that.
So that's the game that we need to do to basically hone in like our craft almost. And that's what he had said to me.
Yeah, like that.
And that's what he said to me. He was saying, because remember I don't know if I've said it on the podcast, I got a new putter as well. I went up to Golf Clubs for Cash and got a new putter, and they helped me out with an even roll instead of a spider. I got rid of my spider, which you look at most of the guys on tour, like most of them like have like spider, like they have a tailor-made spider. Exactly.
Like, so many people like have got that tailor-made spider. So many.
I went back from like the mallet to a blade putter, an even roll putter. Yeah, and it was. I played London Links with it for the first time, and honestly, I think it was the honeymoon period with it. Everything either rolled in or rolled to like the perfect kind of tapping length.
Chris, there's just so much activity going on here. Not only Are there golf lessons? There's an Albatross. There's a lot of new kit being bought. This is just like, this is getting my pulse racing here, Chris.
Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to do, Dave. I told you I'm locked in. I'm making the adjustments. I'm doing the things I need to do because I need to get to scratch. Need to get to scratch.
So in summary, your lesson with Jonnie, he's trying to help you kind of
get to the green quicker.
Cut out, but also, that's a great point. Get to the green quicker, particularly, I think this is at any level, but particularly at your level, you want to get to scratch. You can't be leaving 20, 25 yards or more in the bag. Like, you've got to be sending it down there as far as you can send it and give yourself a much, much easier approach shot in. So, he is advising you to do that. Totally understand that. Also, to try and, I'm going to be careful here, not to say eradicate, because I don't think anyone can ever eradicate a kind of double cross shot in golf.
Yeah.
But trying to kind of ditch that pull hook as much as possible by trying to get you back in that sort of fade
in that zone.
Shot.
Yeah. Exactly.
Did he give you like any technique? Did he give you technique? Did he give you like sort of technical stuff that you needed to look at, or not so much?
With the driving or in like other parts of the game, because he gave me
just any sort of full swing shot, really.
So to be fair, with the driver, he gave me that kind of like, because I know how to play a slice and like I know what I need to do to play a slice. So he didn't need to go through the mechanics of that. Like I know how to do that. But
do you have like for that in your mind? Like, I'm just trying to get into your head in terms of what's your plan when you're trying to hit a certain shot, like a fade or a slice or whatever. Do you have like a clock system or something in your mind?
No,
or is there, like,
for me, what I kind of plan to do is that. So do you know normally if you stand neutral and your feet are obviously in like,
square.
If you want, square, exactly. If you want to play, for me, if I want to play a draw, I will drop that right foot back, which then kind of encourages me to come in from the inside. If I want to play a fade, I'll basically push that right foot forward, which will encourage me to like, I won't be able to come in on the inside if that right foot's kind of blocking that. Do you know what I mean? So that encourages me to come in from the inside, and I'll go from right to left. So my swing path, I'll aim left, and my swing path will be right to left, and my left shoulder will be a little bit more open, so I can carry out that full maneuver. That's the simple. If I want to play a fade, that's the simple thoughts that I do as I'm stepping up. It's not like a I need the robotic. It's just like right foot forward, left, right to left, and then
more of a not so much technical stuff like you're thinking about body movements, but more setup is what's kind of helping you get there.
Exactly.
When I've like, as I mentioned, you were asking me about can I hit fades and draws, and like I say, not great at it, but I'm starting to get more awareness around it. But Jonnie does try and kind of imagine you're standing on a clock and you know you're looking at 12 o'clock. And he's saying like to hit a fade, you want to sort of feel like you're swinging the club from 2 p.m. through to like 8 p.m. or something like that on the clock face.
And
see, then for a push draw, you want to be doing like something like the other way around, where it's maybe like going like from about 4 o'clock to about like 10 o'clock, I should say, something like that.
We did look at that, and we done that in TrackMan, and that started the ball rolling for me, with sorting my irons out.
Got you swinging, feeling that you're swinging from 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock in a clock face, and just holding the face open, and you can see the result there is a much better, straighter shot. And if you can feel that face open whilst you're swinging left, it's going to be hitting a lovely little baby fade.
And I was at Turnberry playing last Friday, and it was the brilliant set. Like, we need to get Ailsa course. I'm going to put it out there as my favourite course to play.
Whoa!
It's the best course I've played.
Big talk here, Chris, and this has been like, you've been since getting back. you've had your lesson. We've talked about that, but you've also been on a bit of a mini tour of like some absolutely unbelievable Scottish golf courses. Sorry, give us those again. Say those
So
again.
Nairn, Turnberry,
Nice.
Ailsa, Gullane #1, and Renaissance. Yeah,
Lovely.
playing
And
some good golf as well.
you played Gullane with Johnny. Was that like a
With
playing
Johnny,
lesson,
yes.
or was that?
No, it was just buddies playing like a game. Obviously, you were away on holiday with the family. But yeah, no, we played, and it was so fun. We showed up at 9:30. You couldn't see the first green, and it's like a
Really?
300 yard. And then by 10:15, the fog cleared,
Mm-hmm.
good to go. But then some of the rounds, like some of the holes, sorry, you couldn't see the green. And Johnny was like,
Yeah.
"This is a brilliant lesson in ball striking." He was like, "You know the yardage," because we were basically going back to the old style of like not using the zapper. We were using like the yardage marker.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Like,
I'm
and some of those have kind of gone away. Like you don't even see them on golf
I know,
courses a lot these
and it
days.
was more of, and he was really, and I had a card in my hand as well, but like he
Right.
he was
Okay, and we'll
he
come
was
to that in a
very
moment. So you had cards
yeah.
on the table in some of these
Cards on
rounds,
the
Chris.
table. So I'm
Yeah.
like looking at what I couldn't see. Like I was trying to look at the green and I couldn't see the green because of the fog. And I was like, and I'm mini stressing in my head, just like I've got a card in hand. Whereas like Johnny was fair enough to him, was like, this is a good lesson. There's a good lesson in your ball striking, committing to the shot. He was like, pick your line, club face, feel a club face when you go through where you think it's hit. And he was like, just feel line, you know the yardage, just commit to it. And I'm there standing over the ball going, oh God, where is this going? Like, where is this going to go? And to be fair, after like there was 3 holes where I was very nervous over some of the shots because I couldn't see the green. After that, he was just like, are you starting to feel more kind of like accepting of this fog and you've just got to play through it and just like know your shot? And I was like, yeah. And it was great. Like he was giving me tips and stuff like that. Where he was saying my putting practice, like my rehearsal wasn't that of what the actual shot was. He was saying I was going
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He was saying I was going too
And
fast.
okay. And he likes to see like you rehearsing exactly as you're
Exactly.
going to hit the shot. Did he? Because at the same time, Johnny, he also does say stuff like, each to their own, and you don't want to just be in some specific model or there's only one way of doing things. He does like to encourage you to find your own way. Did he
Yeah,
say anything about that?
definitely. I think like so he knows how we've played with him a few times, so he's came to like grips. He knows when I've done something that is out of the ordinary of my each to their own kind of thing.
Yes.
So
Okay.
then say I hit a shot that isn't really normally in my game.
Yeah.
He'll be like, do you know what you've done there? But he gives you the opportunity, and I'm very good at like I don't like overanalyzing my game, but I'll know straight away where I'm like, oh, I got stuck. Like, do you know what I mean? I was swinging too fast, I got stuck there, which left
Right.
the club face open. He's like, yeah, perfect. And
Mm.
there's sometimes where he will give advice like after I've played the hole and say like your rehearsal there's way too fast, and then you're really slow on your putt, so that's why you've left it like 5 feet short, kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, I took a video when you weren't watching. He was like, look at this. This is what you need to do. And he was like, so what we'll do is we'll just practice a few putts and just like getting that rhythm back.
Yeah.
And it's so brilliant to kind of like be like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Is that where I'm
Yes.
dropping that 1 or 2 shots? And it was. Like it was
Yes.
silly mistakes, and he's just basically honing me
Yes.
back in.
And
Like, do you know
we've
what I mean?
talked about this on the podcast where certainly I felt like I had success where that kind of say it and play it situation where you're calling the shot you want to hit and then you go ahead and try and play it. I think maybe even adding one more layer to that where you kind of say it, you feel it, and then you play it, in that
Yeah,
you try and feel that rehearsal of exactly what you want to do next. I think, and I say this a lot. I've been guilty of this many times. Is you just take a practice swing just for the sake of it, just because
Yeah.
you think that's something that golfers should do. Whereas, I think Jonnie is really trying to encourage more kind of purposeful preparation before
Yeah.
you hit the shot. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. And there's a few times as well where he's like, right, get the rehearsal done. And I've just stood up to line the ball. He's like, oh, I've not seen a rehearsal. Like as I'm starting, I'm like, that's true. And I do this swing, and I can feel it's a draw. The ball would have went to the other side of town. And then he's like, right, well, he's like, what did that feel like? I was like, a pull draw, like kind of whatever. And he was like, right, well, rehearse it till you get it to a fade then. And then like I do, and I'm like, got it. And then what do I do?
See,
Hit like a nice fade.
you're going to be
It's
hitting you're going to be doing like 5 or 6 practice swings now, Chris. You're not going to be popular.
That's you that do.
Not going to be popular in Scotland.
Mate, that's you that does that. No,
Right, and that is absolutely not true, Chris, because interestingly, since moving to Scotland, and I remember hearing other guys who I've played with saying to me that when they arrived in Scotland, like some Scotsmen who they played with just were saying things like, one practice swing is one practice swing too many.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and so actually, in all honesty, I get up and I do like a little waggle, but very often I don't take a practice swing, which is completely like different. If you'd seen me 10 years ago, you'd been like, come on, mate.
I think you take a practice swing with your driver. You definitely take a practice swing with your driver.
Sometimes, and that is probably since talking to Jonnie about all this stuff, where we're
And
trying to
so,
really feel it.
and you, while I was away, obviously you've released with Jonnie 2 great episodes where the
Yeah, and
first
tell
one
me,
was
Chris,
basically, yeah,
before we get to that, sorry, just before we get to that, people are dying to know here, Chris. You've been on a bit of a mini tour of some world-class golf
yeah, sorry,
courses. You
yeah,
kicked off around a 3 handicap. You were right
yeah,
up higher than you wanted to be.
yeah.
Tell everyone what's happening now. Where are you at in
So,
terms of the handicap?
so basically, when I played Ailsa, I was 4 over through 18, doubled the last, which was a silly mistake. I don't know
Right.
for
So
the
what's 4
peop
over? Is that what was that? What was that on the card? What
so
was the
that
number?
so that would have so 4 over it's a 71, so that would have been a 75.
75 at Turnberry, yeah?
But I doubled the last, so it was a 6 over. So that killed me because it still went down, and that went down on the score differential as like a 2.3,
Okay, so
even
yeah,
though it was
again, the
even though it was 6
sloping,
over.
we
Yeah,
need to maybe try and get better at understanding how this works. But yeah, it's just basically what the
the scores
the
like the
perceived
hard.
difficulty of the
Yeah,
course is, and
yeah.
that like dictates
So
the sloping. And
that
then
killed.
if you,
Yeah.
yeah, so
So
you shooting how many over on the day?
so I was 6 over.
6
Was
over,
it two
but
two
went down.
point three or something like that? Score different, which was killer because if you think about it, it was I could have avoided that double so easy. I hit I split the fairway with my 2-iron, and then I
Yeah,
hit this 3 driving iron, but I choked down, and it was
yeah,
getting that kind of like getting darker. Then the gentleman that we were playing with, who was like past captain at Turnberry, he was
yeah.
like, "Oh," and he's been a member there for 45 years. He was like,
Mm.
"I remember I seen Tom Watson hit that same kind of shot, and then he put it through the green like what you've done, and then he
Like,
lost the Open." And I was like, "What?" And he then went and like a lovely guy. He was not trying to get like he was telling me the history, showing me the plaque of where like the Jewel in the Sun happened, where Tom
mm,
Watson won it. But he was
mhm,
telling me about like, yeah, he played the same shot, it went over the back, he was in the rough and he putted it.
mhm.
And he was like, you shouldn't have putted it. Then he like got it on the green, missed the putt, had like I think he bogeyed it when he needed to get a par to win it. So he's telling me
But
this
this
as
is
we're
like
walking.
this is where you get confused, like sometimes in golf, because you hear all this conventional wisdom on like links courses. Get the Texas wedge out as much as possible. If you can putt, make sure you putt
Yeah.
all the time. But then you'll hear stories like that as well.
Well, that's the thing. He had said that to me when I was standing over there. What did I do? What do you think I done? Do you think I done the Texas wedge, or do you think I used like a lower iron?
After him
Like
warning you against the Texas wedge,
yeah, what do you think I done?
did you take the Texas wedge?
I took the
putter?
Texas wedge
Did
and
you?
I four putted.
No, you did not, Chris. That
I
could have been
putted so I
so
put
much better.
yeah, could have been my handicap would have been down at like I don't know 1 point something because if you think about it, could have been, would have been, should have been.
Well,
But
yeah, exactly. And on that point, Scott Fawcett, who I've talked about, who is this guy in America who released the Decade app. It's all about like new kind of frontiers in terms of course management and strategy using loads of science and data. And he's like, listen, everyone always comes off the course thinking they could have shot lower. So, like,
yeah,
we've just got to realize that
well,
that's
that's
going to
the
be the
thing.
case every time.
The guys after I done that, and like, so I was 6 over, but like everybody else was maybe like 15, 16, 17, 18 over.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know,
okay.
maybe who
Respectable,
knows?
respectable.
Yeah, respectable. But then I'm getting hit with um, I wouldn't have hit a putter. Like when you're standing there with a putter, I wouldn't have hit a putter. And like I'm the guy that's standing there that's 4 over right now. Like, and I was just like, oh, really? Okay, like, yes, we know that in hindsight. But if I'd
Yeah.
put that up nicely and it rolled on, then it would have been a good shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry.
So you got
Played
what went down
Turnberry
as a 2.3 on the day
2.3, which took my
on the
handicap
world
down
handicap
to
system.
2.5. So
Got it.
just because I had like it was a brilliant, I had a higher 4.2 maybe come off. I'd said to Johnny, I was just like, "Are you okay, mate? If like on Monday, if I put a scorecard in?" And he was loving it. He was just like, "Yeah, of course." He's like, "I want to see you put a card. I want to see what
Yes.
it's like when you're under the cosh." And I was just like,
yeah.
"Oh, this is great." I was just like, "Now the main focus is me putting this card in."
So what did you shoot at Gullane, Chris? Come on.
So that was
Spit it
5
out.
over. 5
Okay.
over, which goes down as another, I think it was a 3. I scored different. But again, and I know you're saying about Scott Fawcett guy, silly mistakes. Silly mistakes. Like, and one of them, which is a very mental side of it that I need to work on and stop blaming the externals. So I was standing over this putt on the 16th, and I was maybe like 18 feet away, and I was looking, and then this group from Gullane 2 came up onto the tee, and it was flat cam day, and these Americans are just like like yapping away, and
No offense to any Americans.
I started focusing on them,
Okay.
and then like I'm standing over this putt, and you could see Johnny just looking at me. The tee had the guys behind had just gone to the tee, so like I'm like, oh, they're there. And I said, like, I tapped it, right? Left myself a curving, like, 5-footer. Missed
When you say
it.
papped it, what do you mean papped it?
Just hit it, just didn't commit to it.
Hit
You just pap something. Yeah.
Just hit a
You
crap
flap it.
putt.
Yeah. Yeah, crap putt. Left myself like a 5-6 footer curver, left to right curver, especially on those kind of greens. And I made my bogey, and Johnny just looked at me and he's like, why'd you not step away from the ball? He's like, I could see you listening to them in your head. And then I could see that. And I was like, I know, he's like, they're making noise. And he was like, to be honest with you, Chris, he's like, they were talking at a normal level. He was like, there's just no wind. And he was like, that is all on you. He's like, you should have stepped away from the ball. You need to get better at accepting noise. Like do you know what I mean? He wasn't helping me play the game, like get me a better score. He was just giving me knowledgeable, kind of like, you need to accept that yourself. So I'm like standing on the tee, just going, I want to blame them. I want to blame them.
And
but
this
like
is,
I have to.
Yeah, sorry. This is the big concept that I hear in golf so much these days is acceptance. Johnny mentioned that the other day. We really need to dive into that ourselves a bit further, but like you'll have golf coaches, Carl Morris, who we talk about a lot, like if there was a cornerstone of his philosophy, it is the concept of acceptance.
Yeah.
Like, can you accept whatever outcome happens, no matter what? Because that is the
Yeah.
key to getting up there and swinging freely
Yeah.
and playing freely.
Yeah. And I think that kind of just before Jonnie had said this perfect thing about you either play like with a challenge or a threat response. So when you approach the game, it's either a challenge, you see it as a challenge, or you
Right.
see it as a threat response. And he
Yep.
said, because he said, if you see a hole or a shot or a round as a threat causing anxiety, it physically changes the whole game for you. Said, whereas if you see golf as a challenge where your skills and resources outweighs the demands, then you're more likely to play in pursuit.
Yeah.
And he said but even knowing these are choices and reframing things can help. So,
Yes.
and that
Yes.
really, that's why I said at the start, I've been playing in a kind of threat response mode for a while, because I think obviously with like being on this podcast and like we're holding each other accountable, I've really been the podcast and like having to like speak to people about it's been
How
there.
low can you go podcast? Just on your shoulder the whole time?
And this is where Jonnie said that he's like, mentally, he was like, golf is a game, it'll be what it'll be. Like, you can then come on the podcast and chat to people about like how difficult it is, like really holding yourself accountable. And that's what people want to hear. He's like, you don't need to worry about that. He's like, play your own golf. And he was like, see it as a challenge and enjoy it. He was like, mainly enjoy it and see it as a challenge. And he was like, and like really have confidence in the shots that you're playing instead of seeing it as a threat and going, oh, because he said, choose to play with freedom over fear and choose to accept all outcomes, especially the bad ones. He said it's easier said than done, but he was just like, don't be standing over the ball going, oh, there's a bunker right. Don't like, just be like, okay, I see the bunker right. I know what I need to do here. I need to basically avoid the hazard. Instead of going, I've been in that bunker before, or that, but like kind of like Carl Morris, think of the
I
good.
always go in that bunker. Yeah.
Yeah. Think of the positive side, is what he was saying. And he says, take the approach that I had where I was carefree with my golf and really enjoyed it and seeing it as a challenge. And it's worked. Honestly, it's worked.
Yeah.
I'm back playing good golf.
And yeah,
and I love it.
Banging on about Carl Morris as usual on this podcast, but there's just so much great stuff from him. He puts it like playing golf is like a series of puzzles that you need to try and give your best to solve. And once one puzzle has happened, you move to the next one. It's like a series of those kind of puzzles where you've got individual tasks each time, where you're really kind of engaging the brain to try and solve this puzzle or complete a certain task each time.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good way of looking at it. It sounds like it really chimes with what you were hearing on your lesson
endeavors.
With regard to the previous episodes with Jonnie, big takeaways for me were like, I really appreciated getting validation from a really top PGA instructor. And when I say that, what I mean is, you and I had obviously hashed our plan, and I think it was in episode 2 where we've come up with our kind of key components for golf improvement. And for me, when I analysed my game, I just knew like my ball striking needs to come up several levels if I want to get down to single figures. So and I know that's really, really obvious, and I said that last time, like, get better at golf. Of course, you need to get better at ball striking. But Jonnie really validated that, like in the lessons I've had with him and in the previous episodes, just saying to me that the biggest area for me where I will see scores drop quickly if I really focus so much on striking the ball out of the middle of the club
Yeah.
with all clubs, with irons, making sure that my ground contact, that brushing the ground after the ball,
Yeah.
just work on that so much. And, with driver, obviously trying to get it out of the middle. And,
See,
Chris,
yeah.
we've, yeah, sorry, we're jumping over the top of one another here, but I've said that to you, and we laid that out, that was what I had to work on. And so just to get that validation from PGA Pro was a really key moment to me, just kind of saying to me, you are doing a lot of the right things to
Yeah.
get to where you want to get to.
Yeah, and I think like that when I was watching it, away in South Africa, and I was listening to Johnny basically tell you about the 3/4 swing that you
Yes.
should have in your bag. And I was actually speaking, do you remember the first time I met you? Obviously, I was with one of my best friends, Marcus. So
I do remember
Marcus
that.
has been, Rich Mansell, do you know the golfer? So
Yes, I
Marcus
think so.
actually used to play golf with him. I
Okay.
don't know if it was like a golf school that they were doing or whatever, golf college. Um, so Marcus is very knowledgeable with his golf, and a lot of the time he's like my kind of, he'll give me a phone call just to like hone me back in about the golf, and he asks me what's going wrong, and he gives me tells me tips and tricks to do, and I think he'd be great to have on the podcast at some point.
Yeah, because
And
he was like trying to
yeah,
make it as a pro at
yeah,
one point,
try and
right?
make it as a pro, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So good golfer.
he is he's had the teachings, he's had the lessons, and he knows all this kind of mindset side of it as well. And he was saying like I'd asked him, where do you think Dave, to get to a single figure handicapper, where do you think he should what kind of point should he focus on?
He was like, "How long have
So
you got?"
no, he had basically said what that PGA Pro Johnny had like taught him about the 3/4 swing. He was like, until Dave can consistently control his driver off the tee, I think he should play those 3/4 like drives essentially off the tee, just because like we both know that you can be quite wild off the tee, sorry, which can get you into hazards and get you into trouble, and that's where those scores kind of accumulate.
Yeah, but not
I
as much as I used to,
I know,
Chris.
but we
Yeah,
need to be not as much, yeah, but still, it still gets you into trouble.
of course,
And this is kind of like
without doubt.
honesty, yeah, where like I think moving forward, and I'm not a pro, I've not had but I think what Johnny taught you, what Marcus had kind of like backed up what Johnny was saying, I think definitely around Murrayfield is that kind of approach of having a more controlled drive
Yeah.
off of the tee. And I understand you absolutely launch it if you get that full swing connection. But at the same time, if that's getting you in trouble, then Marcus said, he was like, if he can control that driver off the tee, because we know you're iron playing, you're chipping, sometimes your putting's a little bit and you're chipping, but that's everybody.
Yeah.
You will get to a single figure handicapper way quicker than you think. So
More
what do you,
validation. Yes, validation. It's lovely to hear that sort of thing from your
Marcus?
pal Marcus, but also from Johnny, obviously, as well. Yes, work on the ball striking, giving me that sort of more controlled sort of 3/4 shot,
Yeah,
which
I
we
think,
worked on, and you can see some of that in previous episodes. But also, Chris, like, I was really pleased to hear people like Johnny say, yeah, you can definitely do that.
yeah,
You know,
it's just making those adjustments that we are working on. And I think, like, say for example, like when I look at, I know you've asked before, when I look at like things in your golf game, like and I definitely like I'll do the hat trick with it. Then I definitely think you can easily become a single figure handicapper if you just like ball striking and
Mm,
say with that 3/4 swing, it almost, because sometimes I feel like when you're driving, and this is just constructive feedback, 'cause you've given me
mhm,
constructive feedback. I think if you can get a swing that is, you can replicate it like the same kind of way, and if you're doing 3/4, that means when it's up here, there's less things to go wrong. You're basically chopping off a section where you could
mm,
like stretch, get off balance.
mm,
If you have that kind of 3/4 drive in your bag that you can perfect,
mhm.
I think you can get around Murrayfield way lower than you already do
Yeah.
because you're close. And I don't know, do
Mm.
you want to tell people how close you were?
Well, it's funny. We left one of our episodes with Johnny on that cliffhanger saying, if I was on the 18th tee and I needed a par to break 80, what would you whisper in my ear? And it turned out just the other day, you were there, Chris.
And I
I
filmed it
hadn't
as
kept.
well.
The script was written for you.
You
made a
think?
par there on the 17th.
Yeah, thanks, Caddy.
Yeah, gave you a little help there,
Yeah,
but it's fine. It was all you as well.
yeah.
Okay, so 18th at Murrayfield. What are you thinking, big dog?
Well, I asked Johnny, what would you whisper in my ear if I'm on the 18th needing a par to break 80? I'm not really sure what my score is, but I think it's pretty good. And I think if I get a decent score here, I think I might have broken 80. I might, I'm not sure. He said just aim at the safest part of the fairway. So I'm aiming right side. My line is the clock on the clubhouse,
Okay.
just in the distance, okay? So just gonna hopefully swing smooth, swing
Commit to
freely.
it though. We need you to commit to this.
Absolutely.
Great strike. Have a wee rehearsal, as Johnny says. Oh yeah.
I hadn't kept an eye on my score, but
Which
like,
is good.
yeah, and Johnny advised that too. I know this episode we're all just like, Johnny says this, Johnny says that, but it is, we've invested in getting some
Yeah.
lessons here. So like, this is a big, big part of the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he said, don't keep an eye on your score, which I don't really normally either. But you always know,
Yeah.
if you're there or thereabouts. Like, I didn't know exact numbers, but
Yeah.
I knew this has been a pretty tidy round of golf. And I was on the 18th tee. It turned
I
out
filmed
that
this.
I
Yeah.
did,
I asked him
I
this question.
did
Yeah.
need a par. That's all I needed. And what did I do, Chris? Having putted like an absolute champion all day, I 3-putted on the 18th.
For what score?
For 80.
For what score?
Yeah, for 80.
But, is that your best score?
That is my best
that your
score
best score
ever. So
today?
like, come on. Like, that's my best score ever on this podcast. I'm delighted to tell
So you're
everyone
coming to,
about
that's
that.
the thing. Improvements are being made, mate. Improvements
Exactly.
are being made.
And Chris, honestly, I did think, even though I had a 6 on the last, on that par 5, I actually in my mind thought I still might have broken 80 here because I had
so did I.
so many pars on particularly the back 9. But I wasn't that disappointed because I just feel like I am trending in the right direction. But what were the keys to it? Like, Chris, I started
Less.
round. I finished the round with the same ball I started with. So I was
Yeah.
good off the tee. I kept it in play. Here's the other funny thing, Chris. Like, you were with me, obviously, on the day. First 5 holes, I did not look like somebody who
No.
was about to go out and shoot their best score that they've ever
No.
scored. Like,
But that's
I was
sometimes where you need that
hanging in there.
persistence. Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
hanging in
that's-
there. Like, I hold, and I think that's the other thing. Sometimes to get like your best score,
Yeah.
there's just certain parts of your game just have to be absolutely firing. And I was on
Your putter
fire
was firing.
with the putter.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure you made like, if I can remember correctly, you made like 4 or 5, like 10 footers or over.
or more.
that
Yeah.
day.
There were
Yeah.
at least 3 like 20 to 30 footers that were drained.
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
the point. Like, on those front 5 holes, I wasn't striking it very well. I was making mistakes, but I was like scrambling, like holding like 6 to 10 footers to get bogeys. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Which is, but
and
excellent.
you go,
Like, do you know what I mean? You need that.
well, you do need that. And I think, again, talking about concepts like acceptance and giving every task or shot or accepting the challenge of each of these puzzles that the course is presenting. I think stuff like that was really helpful, where previously maybe I would be on a par 4 where it hasn't gone well. I've hit 4 shots to even get on the green. Like,
Yeah.
for example, I don't even know if anything like that happened on the day, but where you've maybe got like a 15-footer to try and rescue a bogey. I think previously I would have been just sort of checking out and giving up. I would have been like, oh, well, this hole's a double bogey or worse.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, let's just get this over with and not even engage in trying to hold the putt. Whereas on those front 5 holes, which I remember especially, it's funny how I remember the bad stuff or the stuff where things weren't going that well.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was just like, no, let's not give up on this. Let's give this a go. Let's give this my best. And it turned out hanging in there, scrambling, not giving up. I ended up shooting the best score ever. And the ball striking really came on throughout the round. And like by the end of it, I was hitting it very, very nicely.
I think 79 is and lower is on the cards. I think with all the things that you're accumulating from Jonnie, from Carl Morris, from all the people that you're listening to, the conversations we have, I think, mate, it's gonna happen. And I think we're going down and set it up now.
Yeah.
And I'm coming with you now.
You're coming with me. And this is the
your
great
handicap
thing.
now? What's your handicap now? And
so right, here's the deal.
Handicap.
That got me cut. I was up at a 15.7.
Okay.
Which was 0.1 of a shot worse than what I started with.
No,
on the podcast. That got me down to a 14.8, which I was actually a little bit disappointed, Chris, because I thought that might have taken me a bit lower. However,
Dave, is that your lowest ever handicap?
That is, yes.
Come on,
lowest ever
positives,
handicap.
man.
I know. And here's the other thing, Chris. I now have got not 1, not 2, but 3 free swings, is what I like to call them, when none of the good rounds are going to drop off on the World Handicap system. I've got 3 goes to go again and get an even lower score, maybe. The other thing is, if I do post another good number, there's going to be like, I think 1 or 2, like 17, like handicap rounds that might drop off. So I actually think if I do manage to get another round like that soon, or maybe another few rounds like that, or even lower, who knows? I think we're going to start to see some serious movement in the right direction, Chris.
That's what I like to hear. That is what I like to hear.
Yeah.
I've had 2 1-unders come off, mate. That's why I pinged up. That's what I was saying. Like, and I hadn't had any free swings at it. Like, I was just kind of like, I can either live in this little moment of, oh, but like those are 1-unders, so it'll keep me. No, I went out there, put those cards in, they came off, pinged me up to 3. Then I'd like fought back and I had another. So I went down to 2.5, then had a 1-under come off and I played the Renaissance and I just was only able to play a 9-hole card and I shot 1 over. It should have been better again. But that was one of those where I was threat response. I was like, oh, I've got 1-under coming off. And threat response, that instead of seeing it as a challenge. So now I'm at 2.7, which I'm okay with because I've had 2 1-unders come off my cards. And now, like, I'm playing good golf. I played 5 days in a row. My back's feeling a little bit worse for wear, but stretching, yoga, recovery. We're back. Next week, we are back. We're getting a score in, and I'm going for it. We're going low, Dave. We're going low.
That is what's happening. You know, just reacting to some of what you're saying, that World Handicap system, that pressure cooker, that moment whenever you feel like, oh, one of my good rounds is about to drop. And I think that very often means people just don't put cards in. And people, like,
Yeah.
because I've been guilty of that. Like, people just go, all right, no, I'm going to bank my good rounds. I'll card something some other time.
Yeah.
We're not going to touch that for a while. We can't
But
afford to
we've
do
got
that,
to-
Chris.
No,
we
exactly.
can't afford to do that. That's the other thing. We're gonna wrap it up here, but that is the thing. We are here end of October. We've got 3 months left of this, and we've got the additional challenge of winter is coming in. The dark days are
Yeah.
here, and getting cards in is not going to be easy. So
No.
we have to go out on this decent form that we're both on and get a few more cards in. So let's go get more cards in, and we'll check back in on the next episode of How Low Can You Go?
How low can you go?